Hi, it's Archie Madekwe and I'm in studio with The Hollywood Reporter.
Thanks so much for dropping by.
Thank you for having me.
So awesome to talk to you. Now the launch of Apple TV has arrived, and so has a much anticipated arrival of C.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been having people be able to see C for the first time?
Yeah, it feels weird. It feels weird because it's been shrouded in so much secrecy for so long. I met for this job for the first time almost 2 years ago now. And so it doesn't really feel real yet. I'm excited though. I'm so proud of what we've made.
Yeah.
So I hope that people enjoy it as much as we do.
Well, what you've made is you guys have created this whole new world for people to kind of
Yeah.
tune into. For people who haven't watched it, how would you best describe the show?
I mean, the show, the world in which we've created is totally new. It's totally imaginative. I really do think it's something that nobody has seen before. It is a world full of things that we've seen before, like, you know, love and family and drama and combat and conflict. But in this world full of their own rituals and customs and tribes and queens, but in a way quite like we've never seen before. Obviously the basic premise of, you know, the entire world being without sight, that's kind of the establishing concept. But within that, all these themes about, you know, the way that we treat the earth now, the way that the earth's replenished itself, you know, how if we actually took the time to appreciate what we have here, like, you know, nature and all the things that we kind of take for granted now, what would the world then look like? People keep calling it dystopia, but for these people it's utopia. And you see that, I mean, the irony is the world is at its most beautiful form, and, you know, nobody can see that.
No one can see.
And so that, you know, that paradox is interesting, but maybe that's what it takes for us to treat things with the respect in which they deserve to be treated.
Now, the production value of the show it's such a large, great scale. Would you say this has been the biggest production you've been on?
Without a doubt. Yeah.
What first made you want to break into acting, and how was it kind of being launched into this huge production?
What made me?
Because this is kind of, in a way, an introduction to you.
For sure. I mean, I've been, you know, doing it for a while, so it's interesting. I went to a school called the Brit School, which is England's only free performing arts school, which was incredible. And it's known for its musicians, Amy Winehouse, Adele, Leona Lewis, the Kooks, a lot of English like Britpop. But that kind of gave me the freedom to explore acting and theatre and storytelling in a way in which I didn't really know was possible in terms of making a career out of it. I just knew I liked doing it. You don't go there thinking about this is what I'm going to do for a job. You go there thinking I just love, you know, playing other people and telling stories, and then you come to realize you can actually do this thing as a career and potentially be paid for it. But that never really kind of, you know, I never thought years ago that I'd be in America doing this thing on a huge series for Apple. You just think, like, I'll do theatre for a few years, which is, you know, where I saw my career going, and I'll pay rent and I'll do all those things, and then, you know, you land in a position where you're able to tell a story like this, and it's, you know, it's a dream come true.
When you land kind of in this world of the show, what jumped off the page about the script and about your characters?
Yeah, I keep saying I've never read a script where the world felt so visceral, so immediately. Like, a show like this has never been created, but immediately I could see these characters. Stephen, like, wrote a world that was so detailed that when you would hear, you know, people slam on the ground and they click and the sounds and everything like that, this world that I'd never seen before, I was so interested to see how it was going to be made. And so when we eventually got to the production office and seeing all of these things hanging up, seeing hundreds of ropes and beads and the weapons that people have made by hand, like all of these things, the amount of detail that had gone into creating this world literally from the ground up, it was exactly how I'd imagined it. And what was especially special about this, which I've never had on a screen production before is we had over a month of prep time where we were able to rehearse and create the world from like the ground up.
Now your character Kofun is one of the twins who is accidentally born with a gift to see, is how they kind of describe it.
Yeah.
In the twin relationship, you kind of really get to know each of them by that brother-sister dynamic. Kofun is more of the cautious type, although that lands him in trouble, where she is more of the daring, kind of dangerous one. Can you talk about how exploring their relationship has defined your character in a way, or shows off your character?
Without a doubt. I mean, it was interesting. Nestor and I, just in real life, are so close.
Yeah.
That bond was pretty instantaneous. Kind of true to the characters, Nestor kind of resented going to some of the blindness orientation training that we had, and I was like, I'd like to go. I'd like to be a part of it, but kind of true to character, she was trying to explore like
everything,
pushing away and not being as involved in it. I had this weird like internal battle where I was I was mirroring kind of the way that Kofun feels. The closest person to him feels a certain way about the only family they've ever known.
Yeah.
And yet that's what he holds dearest to himself.
Do you think his fear comes at all from the reading he's been doing? Because they're both very knowledgeable from these books they have, and they're able to see the world, but they also know about the world before them, and they want to learn about the world before them. So.
Well, Francis keeps saying, our director Francis Lawrence, he says, with the introduction of knowledge, again, will the world repeat and make the same mistakes that it's made before? And, opening up that Pandora's box,
So it would be through you guys?
100%. Okay. And I mean, you kind of see the way that starts to go through Hannah Watt, like the sheer boldness sometimes of her actions, the kind of sense of betterness that she starts feeling just because of this kind of sense of knowledge. I mean, it's not to say that naivety is bliss, but you start fearing like, with knowledge, comes a lot of responsibility, and I guess that knowledge has to be given to the right people, the right person.
So it'll just bring some danger along the way from the past three episodes.
I guess so, yeah.
You mentioned, so you did go to the blindness orientation even though you didn't need to.
Yeah.
What did the other actors who kind of had to learn the choreography and kind of learn this role through technically not being able to see, what did they kind of say about the intricacies of kind of learning that role, if it makes sense? And
I think
playing as if they have no sight.
Yeah, I think what's important to say is, for all of us, we were taught by Joe Strecce, our blindness consultant and one of our producers. He's a person that's blind himself, and what he was constantly doing was teaching us like, a specific set of skills that people that are blind use day to day, like the skills in which they use. And so we were never kind of learning to be blind, but it was learning, the skill set in which people use and building on top of that in this world. This is a base level, and now 600 years, what else is there? So, a lot of these things came from truths, the string and the way that people read in knots. It came from a Peruvian tribe, and people constantly are saying like, oh, but there wouldn't be the battle scenes. How would you do that? Like, if you were blind, and we had blind wrestlers on set, like, fighting and hearing and going in with the punches. These people are more than capable, and it was just learning the full extent of what these people in the 600 years are capable of doing.
Speaking of the battle scenes, where you are kidnapped by the slavers, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The battle scene between Jason Momoa and everyone kind of trying to save you was pretty epic and insane. Can you kind of talk about the filming of that, what went into it? And you were kind of watching from the sidelines, but you were a big part of it.
Well, I think that is one of the greatest things about working with Jason, is so much of that stuff comes from Jay. He choreographs so much of that stuff.
It was insane.
He's so invested in that. That's so a lot of that stuff you see comes from him and his team. He is constantly, even on the day, wait, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? What about this? Hold on, I kind of want this weapon. Can we get that made? The prop masters go off and they make a weapon that's literally come from his head. So even watching from the sidelines, all of that stuff, it was insane because I was literally watching Jason invent on the spot, and that is fully not my forte. I mean, that was one of the scariest things for me about getting involved in this. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do all these stunts. Like, that is not. I don't know. I'm not a fighter necessarily. Like, am I gonna be able to do this? And working with him, seeing the way that he worked and his team, like, it just made you so excited and so inspired to like want to do those things and want. And it, listen, didn't come without cost. I dislocated my shoulder, dislocated my knee.
You did?
Yeah, all of these things like on set. Like, it was. We worked like, to like get to these places, like, but yeah, they were great.
What would your best tease be for a second season in this next chapter?
I mean, I think that this story, the world in which has been built, it could go on forever. So, you know, we hope there's a season 2. You have to wait and see.
With the start of your career, you've had a few other great credits. You have Voyagers coming out with Colin Farrell. Working with someone like him and Jason Momoa, what do you learn most?
Just professionalism, you know, turning up, doing a job, on set, being on time. It's been both of them leading men, and the way they steer a ship. It's really difficult for the entire cast. It's really important that they set a tone, and both of them are, you know, gentlemen of the first order. They really do take control, and so both of them has been an absolute pleasure working with both of them.
Thanks so much for dropping by. This was so much fun.
Thanks, man.
Make sure you watch C on Apple TV+.